I would like to ask the participant to mute their mic, and you can unmute your video throughout the session. And I would like to introduce my mentor and guide and a multi-dimensional person, Dr. Ravi Samuel. And he is a PhD in psychiatry social work. He has over 30 years of experience in clinical side in treating people with emotional, behavioral, psychological, and psychiatric problem. He deals with marital problem and psychiatric, corporate mental health issues also. And he also provide cognitive rehabilitation for patients with brain damage and dementia-related disorder. He is trained in cognitive behavior therapy by Mr. Alan Davidson, a cognitive behavior therapist at National Hospital of Neurology and Neurosurgery, Queen Square, London. He learned cognitive rehabilitation in Jewish Medical College, New York, on an observational visit, and in head injury rehabilitation in Copenhagen, Denmark, on an observational visit. He represented India in America, United Kingdom, Spain, Japan, Sweden, Turkey. So he has conducted workshop in Singapore and Malaysia. He has published more than 15 papers on emotional management of elders, on marriage, and has developed a cartoon book to educate people about elders. Currently, he is external faculty at Institute of Psychotherapy and Management Science, Adyar, Chennai. Associate member of Indian Psychiatry Society. He mainly does private practice in his clinic located in T Nagar, Chennai. Now on virtual clinic online due to COVID-19 is extending his service through online. Once again, I thank everyone for attending this webinar, and over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that very elaborate introduction. We are going to deal with some serious issues today. Not many people, but still I'm going to kind of carry on with the full blast of the program, because Dr. Gangadharan at Heritage Foundation taught me this greatest lesson in life. Once he flew me to Hyderabad for a meeting. We were about 5 people from all over India. But when we went for the meeting, we were very surprised. There were just about 10 people there, and we were 5. So I asked him, for just 10 people, you're kind of blowing money so much. He said, Ravi, do you want 500 people I can assemble? But these 10 people will listen to every word of yours and will implement whatever you are suggesting today. So which one do you want? I can assemble 500 people in the evening for you. I said, no, sir, I'll speak to these 10 people. So with the same philosophy, I enjoy talking to smaller groups. Surviving abusive relationship is one of the most painful thing that I have seen in my clinical practice. The most interesting thing is that many of them are not even aware that they are being abused, that they are in an abusive relationship. As a clinician, you pick it up, but you do not tell them, because you don't want to kind of blow up the problem for both the man and the woman. And not always it is the man abusing the women as commonly thought to be. It can also be the other way around. I'm going to share some of my clinical experiences with you to give you the perspective, to give you the knowledge of what I see in my clinic. Abuse can be in the form of sexual abuse, forced sex, which is normally performed by both genders, When a man is not very interested, the woman forces him. If he does not show interest, sometimes he is beaten up for not giving the sexual pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, these are not uneducated people. These are educated people holding high positions. Abusive relationship can be physically abusive. For unknown provocation. If there is a known provocation, at least you will know why your partner is beating you. But here, sometimes it can be unknown provocation, which makes it much more painful because you do not know why you are being beaten, why you are being chased, why you are being cornered. Abuse can be in the form of neglect, complete neglect of the human being. உடம்பு சரி இருக்கா, உடம்பு சரி இல்லையா, போனியா வந்தியா, கஷ்டப்படுறியா, ஜுரம் வந்திருக்கா, nothing matters to the other person. Nothing matters. Sometimes very painfully I see this contradiction. People have relationships outside marriage. They care so much for the person with whom they are having an affair, but neglect the home front. So here the lady is having fever, not able to go and see a doctor. This man expects her to go and see on her own. But for the girl with whom he's having an affair, he goes, finds a doctor, takes an appointment, organizes a cab. So the human mind is so distorted. It does not see reason behind their actions. I am treading this webinar very, very carefully because all of us are in a relationship. And like how we in psychology classes, when we sit and listen to schizophrenia, we all think oh God, I got schizophrenia. Sir, I think I have most of the symptoms. But thankfully, we don't have schizophrenia, but that's the impression it creates. So some of the things that I'm talking may reflect your life. So it may disturb you. So I'm just giving a word of caution. I'm going to also say the focus is to enlighten how you can cope with it, how you can manage it, and how you can solve it. Because as I said in the beginning, if you are not aware of it, then there is no question of solving it. Right, let me move my first slide. Why do we get into a relationship? We need that companionship. We need someone to say that they love us. We need someone to give that feeling of companionship, to go and share very eagerly. This happened to me. I went to this place. This is what transpired. Like that, we need a sense of companionship. We need someone to fulfill our physical needs, sexual needs, care needs. There is a lot of difference when you have an illness, when someone gives you the medicine in your hand and some water, and they says, please take the medicine. As against, you may be a doctor yourself. Most of you are doctors here. You may know what to take, but you going and taking the medicine along with water is a different issue altogether. So that's what the power of love, the power of care, the power of being cared for, being loved, being protected, being taken care. The care, as I said, can be a physical care, but also a psychological care. Oh, you're going out. Please take your umbrella. Please take your mask. Have some water with you. Can make a lot of difference that you care for that person. All you need is that 2 minutes to think about that person, to make them comfortable. We need someone to grow with. We need someone with whom we can share our knowledge, we can learn from their knowledge, and we can grow together. Growth is an essential element of human lives. If you are not growing in a relationship, it means you are stagnating. I need not tell you what happens when we stagnate. A simple example is a stagnated water stinks. So growth in a relationship is essential. You don't feel deprived and you can grow. You have to feel fulfilled emotionally, sexually, to grow as a person, to, as you all may remember, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, to go towards self-actualization. If you are not getting any of these, then we enter into a state of distress. We constantly keep thinking about the deprivation, be it sexual deprivation, be it love deprivation, be it companionship deprivation. Many people come and tell me that the boy whom their daughter is going to get married is a very talented young man who is extremely successful. Well, he is successful because he is working 16 hours a day. And they say he's traveling all over, doctor. He goes to London, he goes to Singapore, he goes to Thailand for meetings, always traveling. But it does not occur to them that post-marriage, if he is going to travel that much, the only way she can meet him is through WhatsApp or Zoom call. But this reality dawns on them after the marriage as a disappointment, as a distress. So if we do not get any of these in the relationship, then it leads to enormous distress. Abuse, as I said, can be physical abuse. It can be emotional abuse, complete indifference, completely not bothering about the other person. It can be sexual abuse, both forced sex as also completely not touching the person. Many of you will be surprised. There are couples who have done sex only once in their lifetime. They have a child. After that, no sex. And they are comfortable with it. Or they find someone else outside the marriage to have sex. Dependence. Recently, a lady poured kerosene on her husband and set him on fire in Tamil Nadu because he was completely dependent on her for everything. And he was badgering her for money to get liquor. So she decided this is the end of it and kind of set him ablaze. So that is the level of distress it can create when someone is completely dependent for everything. A very minor reflection of this is not helping in home activities, housekeeping, expecting the lady of the house to do everything. Another type of abuse is deceiving the person, completely giving an impression to the other person contrary to what is happening. Sometimes the partner is aware of this but does not raise it because it causes unnecessary disruption in the marriage. The children are there. So they just keep silent about it, but nevertheless, it affects them. It creates enormous distress in them. And the human nature is that if something is not straight, you will start getting doubts. There is something called intuition. Your intuition will keep telling you that whatever this person is telling me is not 100% true. Abuse can be in the form of neglect. As I said, when someone is sick, the partner does not care. It can be emotional neglect. Can start with not replying to messages, not taking calls. There are some husbands who do not take the calls of their partners. Simply, they do not take. The moment they step out, they are not the responsible man they are when they are inside the house. So imagine how difficult it is for the partner. It can also be in the form of disassociation of the thoughts, beliefs, interests, and sentiments of the person. You are interested in movies, go with your friends. You believe religion is good, go ahead and worship. If you are interested in savings, go ahead and save. If you are sentimental, you want to do certain things certain way, please go ahead and do it that way. I am not going to participate in that, and I'm not involved in that process. It's a form of abuse. Complete disrespect, showing verbally, calling the other person disrespectfully in public, in private. Disrespectful actions when they're asking for something, throwing things. When they ask for money, not giving them money. Public display of affection is something all of us have heard. Some of us are comfortable doing that. But there is a public display of disrespect in the eyes of unknown people, in restaurants, in public places like parks, beaches, malls. You can see this display of disrespect. It can be very demeaning for a person. I'll give you an example. A lady was working in a family function from the morning. In the afternoon, she felt a bit hungry, so she went and sat to eat. Her husband came and pulled her up and said, why is it you're eating along with the guest? Don't you have common sense to wait? Just imagine how humiliating it will be when you're being questioned. Instead of saying, oh, உனக்கு பசிக்குதாமா சாப்பிட்டுடு நான் பார்த்துக்கிறேன். So this is the kind of public display of disrespect which can demoralize a person. Abuse can be in the form of controlling. all aspects or few of the aspects. Some men are very possessive. Some women are very possessive. They will start controlling about their interaction with those people alone. The rest of the things they will not worry about. So there won't be any control. But in certain cases, there will be overall control of all aspects. There is a relative boy of mine. When he comes home, every 5 minutes he gets a call from his wife. I'm not exaggerating, really. Every 5 minutes he'll get a call. எங்க இருக்க, என்ன பண்ற, யார் கூட இருக்க, என்ன பேசிட்டு இருக்க, எப்போ வீட்டுக்கு வர போற? Automated questions. Promiscuity is one major issue in a relationship. Loyalty towards ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, not necessarily just boyfriend, girlfriend. It can also be in the form of being completely loyal to parents, where the person feels not so included. It looks as though they are one group and this lady is just a loner in that family. Also, it can happen for the man as well. Loyalty to friends. They will meet the friends, they'll boost with the friends, and they will spend a lot of time, money, travel along with the friends. And sometimes it can also be unknown friends. Your partner should know who your friends are, and they should have their numbers to contact. They should be in a relationship equation. But here you'll find that there are some friends who are completely not getting into the picture, kind of being very close to your partner. Very interesting, isn't it? Right. What kind of effects do these have on us? Number one, it affects our personality. How does it affect our personality? From a very happy person, we become a sad person when you are in an abusive relationship. You may be someone who wishes good things for others, but after being abused, you don't care about others. You don't bother what others are doing in their lives. So it changes you as a person. Emotionally, it makes you very vulnerable towards people who are little affectionate. You start seeking for such outside support. And also it makes you a completely withdrawn person. Someone who does not have the psychological energy to reach out to others, to form relationships, to help others, to enable others. You become very withdrawn. You no longer care what others are going through. It can also lead to psychiatric problems like depression, anxiety disorder, particularly if you're exposed to physical abuse. You become very nervous as to what might happen at any moment. Right. So having seen what is abuse, how it affects you, number one, you have to identify the abuse. If you are a clinician, you have to just keep that in mind, not openly share it with the couple so that it does not exacerbate their problems. As a first form of intervention, you have to tell your family and friends, never be silent about an abuse, because abuse are always progressive. It keeps increasing. When you face extreme level of abuse and then go and tell your parents, they get very flabbergasted, because till such time they would have had an impression that everything is all right. So many people make this mistake, not giving the impression to the parents from day one that things are not okay, things are not happening. So very important, you share with your friends. And sometimes friends can help you. Friends can talk to both parties and sort it out. If that is not possible, then you should go for professional help, to psychotherapists, to counselors, to psychiatrists, who would do what we call as family therapy to set right some of the problems. See, if it is a relationship before marriage, you can just walk out of the relationship. Tell the person, I cannot put up with your abuse. I cannot put up with this beating. I cannot put up with this sexual torture. But after marriage, you cannot just like that walk out, particularly when you have children and all that. So the dynamics are different there. If you are not having a very healthy personal relationship, it's best to step out of the marriage and develop yourself. In many abusive situations, when the partner becomes assertive, when the partner becomes strong enough to put up a fight, to put up resistance, the abuse reduces. Either they stop abusing or reduce abusing. When someone shouts and screams, when you also raise your voice and say, do not shout and scream at me, either you talk softly or stop talking. I'm not going to listen to this. I'm going to walk out of this place. Then the abuser kind of calms down. So you need to develop yourself professionally. Start doing a course. Start going for a job. Start doing something that would develop you. And then you can shift your focus to probably children, because they can get very traumatized if both partners, both parents are completely emotionally not available. So you can shift your attention towards your children and focus on bringing them up. Right. With this, I'd like to conclude that abusive relationships are very common. Abusive relationships may not be very obvious. People in abusive relationships can approach you for various psychological issues, but you may have to dig into it and find out the real cause of where it roots from. And then you have to apply family therapy, because if you do not sort it out, it can affect the mental health of the children. Right. So I'm happy to take questions if there are one or two.
Doctor, only 3 minutes left. In case if it is logs out, we have to log in again with the same login ID.
Can you all log in, please? If you're interested, we can continue. Thank you, Yasmin.
Yes, doctor. We'll log in again.
Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We shall leave now, Gayatri.
No,
Unmute, Gayatri, unmute. Can
Yeah,
we
we
leave
can
now?
log. Yeah, okay, we can leave now. We can log in
And
again using the same
okay,
login ID.
yeah.